thought I would record this just because, like, why not? But, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this video, but I just thought, like, I would make it just because. Um, but it's really just about, like, have y'all ever been in love before? I just wanted to kind of speak about one time in my life where I don't even know if it really was love. It was just probably the most real thing I've ever really felt in my life. Um, I've never had a girlfriend. Um, but this is about a girl. Um, and really what it's about, it's like me as a person, I feel like I'm more self-centered. Um, I think of like when it comes to like giving gifts to people, I want to give like I just get all wrapped up in my head where it's like I want to give the best gift I can, I don't really care even like I want my gift to be so good that I want it to be perfect. And usually the perfect thing is like expensive. But I just love doing that. I love giving a gift. Like no matter the cost, cuz I don't really care about the cost. I just care about if I think the person would actually like it, or if it's like an actual good gift. And usually, in my mind, the only gifts that I think are worth giving are more expensive. I'm not saying that like the only good gifts are expensive. I'm saying that the only gifts that I can think of are usually gifts that are unrelatedly expensive. Um that's just how it turns out. But if I can't give the person exactly what I want to give them, I kind of become stun locked. I start thinking about other gifts and it's just like, well, no, that just wouldn't be good enough. And so, like, sometimes I just end up not giving a person anything at all. Um, which, some people just might say, oh, that's a cop out. That's just like a cop out for not giving a gift. But now I'm in a place with money and I want to give just good gifts. Which, time will tell. Time will tell in that aspect. But where I go with that is that when it comes to things like that, I'm not that essentially I'm saying that like I don't give a lot of gifts. I don't it's kind of hard. I'm very self-centered in a way where it's like it's hard for me to truly care for another person. Uh to care for another person. Um that I feel like that just doesn't come naturally to me. Um Maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe it doesn't come naturally at all. Maybe it's just like something that's learned, but it seems like it's not. I don't know. I've met people who are just naturally caring, or it seems like that. Um but I'm more of a self-centered person. But how this relates to the first time I fell in love is, or what I think was love, I don't know. But it relates in the way where it's like, um, I've never felt this before, and I haven't felt it since. Um, and it was the silliest moment. It was like the smallest, most insignificant thing, and it made me feel so deeply in a way that I've just never felt before. So like, it was this girl, and um I was getting to know her, and over time, uh, I already liked this girl, but over time, feelings were just kind of building. But like, it was still just like a crush, it was still a crush. Um, And I guess it kind of stayed a crush. But like, she made me feel something that I've just never felt before. This one time. And it was unfortunate because after the one time, uh, it was just, it was kind of over. Like right when things began for me, it kind of ended with her. So that kind of sucked. But I think about this sometimes because I was reflecting on the emotion that I felt not last night, but I was reflecting on the emotion that I felt in the moment, and it was such a wonderful feeling. And it wasn't even a feeling of like joy or sadness or anything like that, like a blank feeling or like a flat feeling. It was a feeling of empathy that I had for a person. I mean, like, I woke up one morning and the day continued, and I saw her. And as I was looking at her, I just felt something different. You know, I felt, for the first time, it felt like I felt empathy. Like I actually cared about someone, you know? More than I ever have. And it was the funniest thing, where it was so small, so insignificant. Such a tiny moment made me feel so deeply. And it was when she hurt herself. She made a mistake or something, and it was such a small, imagine like it was equivalent to her getting a paper cut, essentially. And when she got that paper cut, and like right in front of me, and she was like, ow, like, or whatever, it was so small, it was such a tiny thing, but I felt more empathy in that moment for that tiny little paper cut than I've ever felt in my entire life, really, for anything. And that was like a sign of like me actually caring, you know, where it's such a stupid, like, insignificant, just like what the hell, and it's just like, it's so dumb, but like I felt her pain, like I felt like sorry, and it hurt me to see her get hurt. And I mean, like I said, I'm more of a self-centered person, and I don't think it comes natural to me to care for another person, or to just, I don't have a ton of empathy. And so when I saw that, you know, it's like it's funny because it's like she felt a negative emotion, and I felt so much empathy, and like, in a way, like, my empathy was negative because it was like she was feeling bad that she hurt herself, and like she felt pain, like it was pain, and like it's so dumb, but she felt like pain that she hurt herself, and I felt so bad, and I actually cared that she hurt herself. You know, I feel like for the average person, someone would say, "Oh, I just got a paper cut." I'd be like, "Oh, dang, that sucks." But like, she got a paper cut, and I just felt so bad. I just wish, like, I was like, I would have done anything to relieve her of that pain. And that was just, and honestly, like, I reflect on that emotion that I felt in that first time, and like I said, I've never had a girlfriend before. And it's unfortunate how it all worked out. But um that was like one of the first times where like I actually like felt uh I don't know, felt true empathy. Felt true empathy in my life. And for like, I feel like my heart's been really cold in that area of my life. And having felt like I was just getting hit with a waterfall of empathy just because she got hurt. And feeling that, it felt so good. It felt so like, like there's nothing that could ever replicate that. There's no drug I could ever take. No, no amount of alcohol or drunkenness I could get. No pill I could take. No experience could replicate that of just, because it wasn't an experience. It was all just my heart and feeling so much and so deeply, not about myself, but for another person, felt so good. It was so refreshing. So refreshing because it's just like, and because there's been other girls where like they've tried to open up to me and I handle it so poorly because I just don't care, because it's just hard for me to care. But feeling that, one of my friends is calling, but feeling that, for that one person, it just felt not magical, it just felt real. Like, like that's the most human I've ever felt in my entire life. And sometimes I wonder, it's like, do some people just feel like this all the time? It got me thinking about like stories of like Pinocchio, or things that aren't human that fall in love. It's like it's so stupid, and it's just so dumb, and it's like corny, but it's like I think back to those stories where it's like you have to think of like, this isn't kind of relating to Carl Jung, but it's like there's truth to every story. Like say for Pinocchio, for example, well, he wanted to become like a real boy, right? Or like a doll or a robot or something that is not human but wants to be human, like every other human. They just crave that. And I would think like the real life example for that would kind of be like something similar to this, where someone like, I don't know, it's corny and it's so stupid, but it's like I kind of relate to that in that aspect of just like, when you focus on yourself so much and don't care, and it's hard for you to care about other people, and you're so self-centered because you just don't think there's that special girl, like, or you just don't have that special girl or that special someone, like, because there's friends, and like I'm grateful for all the people in my life, I really am, but there's something special that comes from a girl or a significant other that you can only have with that person. And it's not necessarily taking from that person. It's like, oh, I just married a baddie, like, I can't wait to like have sex with her, blah 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 blah. But it's not about that at all. It's like having like being I mean that's the most beautiful thing in the world, where it's like having being able to be with a beautiful girl, not so that you can take from her, but so that you can just give her everything. Like, cuz like you can take and take and take. But it just feels so empty. I mean, no matter what you do, like you taking just comes from insecurity. It just comes from greed. It just comes from emotions that are just so self-centered, insecurity, like for example, you focus on your looks, and it's like you focus on your looks, or it's like say even for healthy reasons. Oh, I want to look better, I want to go to the gym, I want bigger muscles, I want blah blah blah. That can be good, because it's good to be healthy, right? But it's like it's not going to satisfy you, because you're still just trying to take something. You're trying to take, for example, you're trying to take a better body for yourself. And it's funny, it's like there's nothing you can take to satisfy you or to make you feel the greatest feelings in the world. But you can only get that from giving something. Just like the Lord gives us his love. That's the greatest thing that we can receive. And the greatest times when we're most satisfied in a relationship with the Lord is when we give him our attention and our love. But when you're with a girl and you just give her all that you can, and you just have an outlet of giving, of empathy, it's such a amazing feeling. And I say that because it's like I haven't felt that, because things kind of ended after that. And I felt that for such a small period of time, and I haven't felt it since. It's a combination of things. It's knowing for someone for the perfect amount of time. You have to get to know a person, and then it's just like what's it called? Fitting with that person. Common area. It's so much. It takes so much to get to that point. But that was just the beginning, and it just kind of ended. And so it's like it faded, and it's like now I reflect on that moment. It's like it reminds me of a quote, and I forgot who said it, but it essentially said that, like, the character was saying that past a certain point, it's unhealthy for a man to be alone or not to be married, And I think that's because if you're alone for all your life, can't really, it's hard to be an empathetic person. It's hard to give so much. Especially if you're not one who cares about giving all that much. And so that's why, it's so healthy. And it's like when you have an outlet of giving, not of taking, but of just giving all that you want to, all that you can, giving your emotions, and then just like actually caring about somebody. And it's just like feeling that. It's something that I really want to feel again. Not that I'm like, empty without it. I'm not trying to chase a feeling. Because nothing will satisfy me except the Lord. But there's just multiple things that go into that, where it's like, kind of has to do with a little bit of like just growing up. It has to do with just being a healthier person mentally, just like actually, that's a good quality to have, like learning empathy. Because there's just been times in my life where people have really been vulnerable with me, or like really tried to get to know me, or whatever, and I couldn't help but feel nothing, and it made me do things that I regret to this day, and just like handling situations wrong. And maybe it's karma, maybe it's karma. But I guess long story short is like I felt that, actually feeling something for somebody, and it was like I wasn't feeling anything myself, but I was just feeling what someone else felt, and it just felt so refreshing. And it's funny because it hurt at the time, because I felt so bad that she hurt herself. But it felt so, it was like equivalent to like a satisfying cry, like where it's, like crying isn't a good thing, but it's like when you have a real cry, like something real, not like I don't know. But when you have a real cry that's like genuine, and you actually kind of can't stop, after, it's very refreshing. And it was kind of like that. Not that I was crying or anything like that, but just it was like, it can be compared to that. And I just hope I can just feel that again someday. But I don't know. And it's like, and like I said, I've never been in love. I've never had I don't know. See, that's the thing. I've never had a girlfriend or really been in a serious relationship. So I don't even know what that was. I wasn't able to explore that emotion, because it was there and then it was gone the next day. Not that I felt any different about her, but I just couldn't see her again. Or she didn't want to see me. But yeah. But if anyone's watching right now, I'd really love to know what that emotion was like for you. I'd love to know. Because, it's like you hear so many stories where it's like, that was, I wasn't even dating the girl. It was just a one-time thing. It was just like, it was so new and then it was gone. And then you hear people who have been in real relationships for so much longer. And they're like, yeah, that like puppy love, like that's not real love. Real love is like, which it is. Like, real love is like staying, like commitment, loyalty, staying with someone in their darkest moments, their lightest moments, like actually being there for a person, not just something you feel in a moment. Real love actually isn't even a feeling, it's more of an action. But that empathy felt special. But I would love to know anyone else's stories or anything. But I just thought that I would share this cuz I don't know. I don't know. But uh, anyway, bye-bye.